Okay, it's time for our first video for exam number 3. That's where we got to go next. Okay, here we go. Let's do our usual. Same thing every time. Yeah, so we've got, this is Math 108. Where are we? Yeah. Math 108, spring 21, exam 3, review, and this is our first one of this series for exam 3, so it's A. Okay, let's get right to business, down to business, and let's do problem number 1. Okay, so that's got a lot of writing. It's not necessarily hard, but it's just got all this writing that I got to do. And it's another Venn diagram story. They like Venn diagram problems. Okay, this one's got 3 balloons in it. A, B, and C. Here we go. A, B, and C. Okay, so now what do they want from us? This is what they want. They want us to shade the following: C prime union A in parentheses, and that whole thing intersect B. Okay, what do you need to do on Alex? Let me show you over here what you need to do on Alex. What you need to do on Alex, and you've seen this before, but let's just remind you anyway, is you need to click this icon in order to do your shading. This is the icon, roughly speaking. Of course, a lousy drawing, but I'm trying to do my best here. And this is, I'll just call this the shade icon. Alex doesn't do that, but I'm calling it the shade icon. You click on that and you're ready to shade whatever you think the final answer is. Okay, let's go about doing this problem. Here comes scrap paper. Let's first draw a picture, a little bit more of a mini picture of C prime. What does C prime look like? So here's our A, here's our B, here's our C. Okay, A, B, and C. This is going to take a long time, even though when you actually do it, you probably will take a lot less. But for me to write everything out, it takes a long time. So what's C prime? C prime is everything but C. Everything. Except that just don't touch C. Anywhere in C. No part of C is part of the answer for C prime. Okay, why did I do that? Because I'm building up. I did a picture of C prime. Now we all know what A looks like. So obviously A is A. So I don't need to draw a picture of that. But let us now go to our next stage, right? We're going in stages. This is not the final answer yet. Let's now draw a picture of C prime union A. That's my next goal. Okay, so I got to do the A and the B and the C. Here we go. A, B, and C. And now I want to do a picture of C prime, meaning we'll take you if you're in C prime, and we'll also take you if you're in A. Right? That's fine. If you're in C prime, we'll take you in. So all of A is good. All of A is good. All of A, no matter where it is, all of A is good. We'll take you if you're in A. And then everything of C prime. Everything outside of C, just like in this picture. The rest of this picture, but not completely like that picture, but everything outside of C we will also take. So you take that shade icon and get all this stuff to be shaded. So what doesn't make the cut? This doesn't make the cut, and that doesn't make the cut, but that's it. Everything else gets shaded. Okay, but that's not the answer. The final answer's got to be all of this intersect B. So we know what B is. So let's do our final answer right over here on the main frame here. And what's our final answer? So this will be our answer. And And what is it a picture of? It has to be a picture of exactly this, right? Exactly this. The final answer, exactly this. So what does the final answer look like? We will take you if you're in this picture, right over here, but you also must be in B. You also must be in B. And in B. You have to be in this picture, and you have to be in B. Okay, so if you're in B and in that picture, then you make the final cut. So this part of B definitely makes it in. This part of B, this is part of B, and it makes it in, right? That part of B definitely makes it in. And the other part of B that all definitely makes it in is this part of B. Right? So you got to be in B and also in here. So this got in. This thing got in. Right over here got in. This got in. The football over here got in. The only part of B that's not going to get in is this part. That doesn't make the final cut. Since it's not in C prime union A, it's not there, so it can't show up over here because you got to be in both. So all of this is the final answer. And problem number 1 is over. We need to go to a new piece of paper because we almost used everything up from we almost used everything of this first piece of paper for problem number 1. Let's go to a new piece of paper and let's get number 2 going. Okay, here we go. All right, here comes number 2, a faster problem, much quicker. Let's get this going. Problem number 2. And it's an old-fashioned problem. 9x plus 3y equals -3. And what do they want? They want the slope and they want the y-intercept. Okay, we have to isolate y. We've done this before. If we have to isolate y, so do minus 9x on the left, minus 9x on the right. If you do that, this cancels out. That's what we want. We're trying to isolate y equals, don't put -3 first. I'm saying a lot of things that we've said many times before. Put minus 9x first. Divide by 3. We got to isolate y. We haven't gotten to y yet. Divide by 3. If you divide the left by 3, you got to divide all parts of the right by 3. This is gone. We're getting closer. Minus 9 divided by 3 is minus 3x. And minus 3 divided by 3 is minus 1. Here's our answers. The coefficient of x is our slope. Here's answer number 1. And the y-intercept, the way Alex wants it, usually is all you have to do is do -1. There's our y-intercept. The full story of the y-intercept really is that it is 0, -1. That's the full story. But I think we've said this many times before. It looks like Alex is happy with just the -1 in there. Okay, that was kind enough to be a pretty quick question. Okay, problem number 2 is more involved. I'm sorry, I meant to say problem number 3. Okay, so you've got events A and B. Events A, and that's my ampersand there, and B. That's one piece of information. Another, well, at least you know that we're talking about events A and B. The probability of A you're given as 0.76. The probability of B you are given as 0.14. Okay, question number A, 3A. What's the probability of A or B, right? They could have put the union sign, but they put the word or in there. Given that events A and B are independent. Okay, that is the first question. All right, here's the story. The answer, let's go to the answer for A before we do B, obviously. The answer is as follows. The formula for probability of A or B, the formula for probability of A or B is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B. This will work. This formula will work for you every time, minus the probability of A and B. Okay. Now, this is the important part. This is the tricky part. We're told that A and B are independent. Here comes the tricky part. Here we go. Where am I? Oh, here we go. I'm trying to move us up. I don't want any questions about being able to see this. Okay. We're ready to explain. All right, so let me explain here. This is important. Since A and B are independent, since they're independent, therefore we know that the probability of A and B, we had this formula in class, is equal to the probability of A times the probability of B. Okay, so I'm going to be able to find out probability of A and B. What does that translate into? That turns into 0.76 times 0.14. And what's that equal to? 0.1064. Okay, so we've got everything that we need now. The probability of A or B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A and B. What's the probability of A? So therefore, the probability of A or B is equal to the probability of A, which I know is 0.76, plus the probability of B, which I know is 0.14, minus the probability of A and B, which we just figured out, is 0.1064. We just figured that out. Minus 0.1064. Go to your calculator and you'll see that the answer is 0.7936. They may tell you to round it, but I didn't round it in this case. I'm just giving you the pure answer. I'm not sure they even want you to round it. Okay, here comes B on the bottom of the page, but we have enough room, I believe. B is a smaller part of 3B is much smaller. So the question is for 3B is, what's the probability of A or B? Probability of A or B given that A and B are mutually exclusive. Now, we learned that in class. Mutually exclusive, we don't have to use this formula. We don't need this. If they're mutually exclusive, we don't need the last part. It won't hurt, but we don't need it. If they're mutually exclusive, they have nothing in common, and therefore it's just equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B. So in this case, the probability of A or B, the formula is the probability of A plus the probability of B. Well, we know what that is. That's the probability of A is 0.76. Therefore, it's equal to 0.76 plus, what's the probability of B? 0.14. Add them together and you get 0.90, also known as 0.9, and there is the answer if they're mutually exclusive. If you use this formula, this wouldn't hurt either, because if you start thinking about what's the probability of A and B, if they're mutually exclusive, it's equal to 0. There is no probability of A and B. They can't happen at the same time. They're mutually exclusive, so it would be minus 0. 0.76 plus 0.14 minus 0 is 0.9. So either way, but as soon as you hear mutually exclusive, you don't need this last part. But independent, you still need the last part, and of minus probability of A and B. And we were able to figure it out. Since they're independent, we know the probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A times probability of B. We got that. We were able to subtract it out. We got the answer. So that's the situation for problem number 3. Got to end the video because I can't afford to go over 15, as you've heard from me many times before. Okay, here we go.